Hello, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to film this video a few days before Thanksgiving and get it up for you guys right after. I know that Thanksgiving and the holidays can be super hard on body image and food freedom and just a lot of toxic conversation and whatnot. So I wanted to have this video in place for you as a tool, just to refer back to talk yourself out of those bad thoughts and feelings. So we are 3 days out of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is Thursday, today's Monday. So I really wanted to have this kind of just chat in place for you guys, super informal, but just sort of serving as a tool to lean on in the aftermath of Thanksgiving, because I know holidays, especially one so focused around food and seeing relatives you hadn't seen in so long, and a combination of factors make it sort of a difficult time if you ever or currently struggle with food and body image issues. I really just wanted to have just a chat, super informal. I will emphasize it as much as I can. I'm not a professional in any way. All the advice I give is based on my personal experience, and I can only speak to my body and my life, but I do hope that I can spark some thinking, some healthy thinking in anyone who listens to what I have to say. So I'm not giving a blueprint, but I'm just giving some inspo. I wanted to start and basically focus the whole video on how I started intuitively eating and how my intuitive eating journey shaped and healed my relationship with food, to bring me to the place where I am today, which I would say is probably the healthiest I've ever been. And health is not just physical, right? Health is also emotional and mental. So I feel like on all three fronts, I'm really in a good place. Intuitive eating is so scary for so many people to just grasp and understand. So a lot of the time when I post intuitive eating content, I get asked, what is intuitive eating? And it's funny because normally people are asking that are people who are already intuitive eating and don't even know it. I always use the example of my boyfriend. I feel like he is just a really good intuitive eater, but it's just eating to him. And that's exactly what intuitive eating is. It's just, should feel like intuition, should feel natural. For any of us, if you're like me, who have struggled with disorder eating or an eating disorder, you probably tainted that into intuition. So I intuitively ate as a kid, but then when I really started to be susceptible to diet culture and similar messaging, I lost sight of that intuition and really followed a lot of rules I set for myself and was very restrictive in my eating and over exercising and whatnot, and that masks intuition. Over time, I really taught my body how to not listen to intuition. So intuitive eating is calling back to those natural roots and eating in a way that you don't really think twice about. Like, you don't have to fixate and plan ahead and all of these tendencies that come with an eating disorder. Yes, intuitive eating in a nutshell is just eating when your body is hungry, but also I like to really emphasize the fact that we have 3 hungers. So we could be physically hungry, and that's the hunger we tend to all just refer to as hunger. But we also experience mental and emotional hungers. So really making sure we're honoring all 3 of these hungers is super, super key to long-term health and balance and wellness, and also just intuitive eating in general. For me, I really find that mental hunger is when I'm craving something that I can't stop thinking about. I'm not physically hungry for it, but it just sounds really, really good. And it sounds like if I eat it, I'll be satisfied that I ate it. So honestly, the holidays, I have a lot of mental hunger because it's just food is more than food for me at this time. It's not just something I'm hungry for, but we have so many dishes that are sentimental to your family and memories and things that you ate as a kid at Christmas dinner that your grandma used to make at Thanksgiving, that really hold a lot of sentimental value. And those are things I mentally crave. So maybe I'm not starving for them or physically hungry, but I know that eating them will be satisfying. Mental hunger is I can't stop thinking about it and I just want to eat it. And emotional hunger is more so like if I'm out for dinner with some friends and we're bonding over the food. I have a lot of emotions tied into my relationships. I'm a very emotive person, and I feel things very deeply. So when I'm sharing a meal with my boyfriend or my family or my friends, I'm not always physically hungry for them. Sometimes, but not like I don't always have to be so hungry for them. But I love like sharing apps with my friends, even if it's like we're just a random time of day and we all already had like our set meals. But emotionally I'm bonding over the food, I'm gonna eat that, and that is a healthy hunger too. We don't always have to have a rumbling stomach in order to allow ourselves to eat, and I think that is something that we've all been conditioned to believe, that we can't eat unless we're hungry, or we shouldn't eat unless we're hungry, and it's only healthy to eat when you're hungry. All of these rules, it's really important to remember that health is subjective, so it will look different for all of us, and it's ours to define, which is so exciting for me. When I really embarked on my true health journey, and this was during my eating disorder recovery, it was exciting to define health for myself. It was exciting to see what my body reacted positively to and what made me mentally and emotionally satisfied. It didn't always look the same as for everybody else, and that is completely fine. Intuitive eating is eating when one of these three hungers is calling to you, honoring your body's cravings. Cravings are not bad. Cravings should not be demonized. They're not unhealthy. You're allowed to crave typically quote unquote unhealthy foods. How I personally got into intuitive eating, and how I would approach intuitive eating for anybody who would like to embark on it, which I recommend everybody do. But intuitive eating, it sounds scary at first, because a lot of people that I speak to about intuitive eating are people who are coming from a restrictive background or have a lot of false beliefs about food and health and whatnot. So there is a fear around letting yourself eat whatever you want. And I think I experienced the same thing. I was very intimidated at the beginning, and fearful that if I allowed myself to eat whatever I wanted, then I would never stop, right? So personally, I love brownies. Brownies are probably my favorite dessert. And I remember when I was struggling with my eating disorder, I would not allow myself to eat brownies. And if I did, it had to be like a once a year kind of thing. And I had to wait for it and then punish myself after to make up for it, and all of these horrible things that were not healthy at all. When it comes to intuitive eating, something I would tell someone like that is, okay, you would allow yourself to eat a brownie and you would be able to eat one whenever you wanted. So it's very scary to think, okay, like I know what happens when I eat brownies, like I go all out, I think it's all or nothing. I have this mindset where I waited this long to eat these brownies, I have to eat them all at once because I'll never get to eat them again. It's an all or nothing mindset. It's like a scarcity mindset, right? We kind of think this is like a scarce food because we've conditioned ourselves to believe that we can't have it all the time. Versus if you allow yourself mentally to think, okay, I made a batch of brownies, I can have one today, I can also have one tomorrow, so I don't need to eat 6 today. It's just making that mental leap to understand that you are allowed to have things as you want them. Over time, this will turn into cravings that are less and less intense and less frequent. So for me, when I started intuitive eating, I did this with brownies, and I did this with a lot of things I would crave a lot. I would have some and then remind myself that I can have more tomorrow. It was really hard mentally at first to get into this kind of practice, but like I say with anything else, the only way out is through. So you really can't overcome or accomplish anything without actually doing it. So I would do this with brownies, and I would have one, and then the next night I would have another one. And it was really scary the second night, honestly, to be like, okay, like I'm having brownies again, like this is crazy. It felt like bad, it felt unhealthy, it felt like I was cheating the system, something. But again, the more you do things, if you're consistent, the less scary they become, the less power they have over you. So by the 5th or 6th night, I was like, I don't even want brownies anymore. And it was a crazy, mind-blowing experience for me, because in the past, every time like I've suppressed the craving for brownies, it was very, very intense afterward. So I was just used to always craving brownies super intensely. To get to a point where I could have them and didn't genuinely want them really showed me that, okay, like if I continue to live this way with all foods in my life, I will find a balance. It's hard to explain something to someone that hasn't experienced it themselves, but I really hope that you can trust at least and find some comfort in the fact that I lived through the scary part and I survived, and I'm in a place now where I find a lot of consistent balance. So it's possible. If you're planning to begin intuitive eating, my biggest takeaways would be to dismantle this all or nothing scarcity mindset. The thinking that you can only have X food at a certain time. Maybe it's the weekend, you have to wait all week to have it, or maybe it's once a year and you have to wait all year to have it. Moving from this mindset to one where there's a surplus of that thing, where you can have it every single day. You don't have to have a whole cake. You can have a slice of cake today and a slice of cake tomorrow. You're gonna get to a point where you're satisfied, and then you can move on. And then that craving will arise again at another time, and you can practice it the same way. This takes time, and this takes commitment. It's very easy to think you're not making any progress because you want an instant gratification. This is a practice that you will carry with you for your entire life. This is your entire life itself, balance and intuition and all of these good things. So it will take time to build up. It will take time to maintain. Do not let this process scare you. I really just wanted this video to be something you can keep in your back pocket and just watch for a quick reminder. One day or a couple of days or a couple of weeks of nourishing your mental, emotional, and physical hungers will not destroy any progress, will not make you any less healthy. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Food is meant to be enjoyed. I always say that food is just food, but food is also more than just food. And it sounds so ironic, but there's a time and place for food to be just fuel. But there's also a time and place for food to be bonding and a means of making memories and connecting with family and loved ones. Cooking for others as an expression of love. Eating a loved one's cooked meals for you as an expression of love. The world is so much bigger and brighter and happier and lighter when you just allow yourself to truly enjoy what's in front of you and then move on. The world will not end. Your body will not change overnight. You're allowed to wake up and nourish yourself the exact same way as usual the next morning. There is no need for punishment or deprivation. You don't have to earn your food. I can go on, but I just want this to really resonate with anyone who may need it. I'm sending my love to anybody who is struggling today or any day with food in their body. Know that it gets easier. I love you guys.